Today we will discuss about the urinary bladder. This is the urinary bladder. It is the muscular bag which is act as a reservoir for the urine. So it reserves the urine. All the urine which is collected by the excretion of the kidney via the ureter. Here you can see this is the kidney, this is the ureter, and this is the kidney. So the whatever the excretion by the kidney, which is the urine which is collected inside the urinary bladder. So it is the muscular bag. It is act as a reservoir of the urine. It lies inside the pelvis inside the adult. So it lies inside the pelvis inside the adult, and inside the children it is the abdominopelvic organ. So normally what happens, this is the neck of the urinary bladder. It is the most lower part of the urinary bladder. Inside the adult it is lies at the inferior border of the pubic symphysis, but inside the children it is lies into the upper border of the pubic symphysis. So it is in children it lies at the level of this level, and inside the adult it is lies at the inferior border. So position, it lies inside the pelvis. It is most anteriorly inside the children. It is the abdominopelvic organ. It is ovoid whenever it is completely filled up, and whenever it is the empty, it is the tetrahedral in shape. And the capacity of the urinary bladder, it is the nearly anatomical capacity. So it is the till up to the rupture. It is a 960 ml. It is the 32 ounce of the 32 ounce. 1 ounce equal to 30 ml. Capacity with the painful sensation, it is nearly 450 to 500 ml. Sense of maturation, it is the at the nearly around to the approximate 250 ml. Sense of filling, which is start around to the 120 to 140 ml of the urine inside the urinary bladder. At the birth there is a capacity, it is only 50 to 60 ml, and physiological capacity, it is called the nearly 172 ml. It is the physiological capacity. It is the nearly 24 ounce. It is the capacity of the physiological capacity. The presenting part of the urinary bladder, I will show you here inside the body. Here you can see this is the apex of the urinary bladder, and this is the peritoneum, and this is the apex which is united by the median umbilical ligament. So this is the apex of the urinary bladder. It has a base which is it is called this is the apex of the urinary bladder. This one is the apex of the urinary bladder, and the base, it is called it is also called the posterior surface, and this is the superior surface. These are the two infralateral surface. My two finger both are the infralateral surface. These are the border. It is called the separating the superior surface and infralateral surface. It is called the lateral border. This is the right lateral border. This is the left lateral border. And this is the posterior border. This is the posterior border which separate the superior surface from the base of the urinary bladder. It has an anterior border. This is the anterior border which separates the two infralateral surface. So anterior border which start from the apex of the urinary bladder to the neck of the urinary bladder, and it separates the two infralateral surface. Two lateral border, we already discussed, it separates the superior surface from the infralateral surface, right and left lateral border. The posterior border which separate the superior surface from the base of the urinary bladder. And neck, it is the most lower part. It is called the neck of the urinary bladder. This is the prostate where there is a beginning of the urethra. Apex which is attached to the by the median umbilical ligament. Here you can see this is the median umbilical ligaments. So the apex which is attached to the through the median umbilical ligament it is the remnant of the urachus. It is attached to the umbilicus. So it is attached to the umbilicus. This is the base of the urinary bladder. It is called the posterior surface also. It is called the posterior surface. So the base, this is the my anatomical position of the urinary bladder. So this is the base of the urinary bladder, and it is also called the posterior-inferior surface of the urinary bladder. So it is directed backwards and downwards. So the actually the anatomical position is this way. So it directed downwards and backwards, and it is the non-peritoneal except small portion, which is the, here you can see this is a both side there is a opening of the vas deferens, and this is the epididymis. This one is the epididymis. So this portion, small portion, it is the mainly it is non-peritoneal except small part in respect to the upper part of the seminal vesicles, where there is a rectovesical fold which is occur. Here I will show you, there is a, this is a rectum, this one is a posteriorly, you can see this is a rectum, I have cut the rectum, and this is the urinary bladder, and it makes the rectovesical pouch. And here you can see there is a this is the vas deferens, and this is a and you can see this is the seminal vesicles, and this one is the ureter. So base, it is related by the rectovesical pouch, and this portion, most upper part, which is the only the epididymis and seminal vesicles, which is covered by the fold of peritoneum, and the lower part of the base, which is non-peritoneal. And inside the male, here you can see it is related with the seminal vesicles. This is the vas deferens, and this is the seminal vesicles. There is a rectovesical pouch here. This is the rectum, you can see there is a rectovesical pouch, and the rectum of the ampulla, it is related into the base of the posteriorly base, it is related of the urinary bladder inside the male. Inside the female body, in between the rectum and urinary bladder, there is a presence of the vagina and cervix. So it is related by the anterior wall of the vagina and cervix and loose ureter tissue. The surfaces, we discussed the surface. We already discussed two infralateral surface, superior surface and base. And whenever it is full, there are two infralateral surface which is converted into the antero-inferior surface, two infralateral surface which is converted into the antero-inferior surface, and there is a only posterior surface whenever there is a bladder which is full. We already discussed the border. There is a two lateral borders. This is the right lateral border, this is the left lateral border. It separates the superior surface from the infralateral surface. The posterior border which surface the posterior border which separate the superior surface and base, and anterior border which extend from apex to the neck of the bladder, it is the separates the two infralateral surface. Now the superior surface, which is triangular in shape, and it is covered with the peritoneum, and it is related with the here, it is related with the sigmoid colon, coil of the ileum, and uterus inside the female. So superior surface mainly related with the, it is covered by the peritoneum, and it is related with the sigmoid colon, coil of the ileum, and uterus inside the female. This is the two infralateral surface, and this infralateral surface actually related with the pubic symphysis. So here you can see this is related pubic symphysis, pelvic surface of the pubis, and fascia covering to the levator ani muscles. I will show you inside the body. Here you can see there is a this is the levator ani fiber of the levator ani muscles, mainly which is here, it is a fiber which is covering to the covering to the prostate. So this fiber, it is the levator prostate. It is also called the levator prostate, but it is a fiber of the pubococcygeus part of the levator ani muscles. So the infralateral surface, basically it is related with the pubic symphysis, pelvic surface of the body of the pubis, and fascia covering to the levator ana and obturator internus, and in between there is a retropubic fat and pelvic surface of the vesical veins. So this is about to the surfaces and its relations. And neck, it is the lowermost point. Here you can see this is the neck, it is the most lower point where there is a beginning of the urethra, my forceps which is inside the urethra. So it is and in case of male, neck it is surrounded by the prostate. Inside the female there is a absence of the prostate, you have to remember. So whenever there is a urinary bladder which is distended, infralateral surface become antero-inferior surface, and it is the apex which is goes towards the upper sides, because it is attached with the umbilicus by the median umbilical ligaments. Which are the supports of the urinary bladder? Here it is difficult to show you the support of the urinary bladder, but I will show you the false ligament. Here you can see there is a fold of the peritoneum over the median umbilical ligaments, fold of the peritoneum which is over the medial umbilical ligaments, and there is a here you can see this is the interiliac, it gives a superior vesical artery. This is the fold of the peritoneum over to the superior vesical artery. It is the obliterated umbilical artery. It is the two lateral fold. So the fold of the peritoneum over to the obliterated left and right umbilical artery. This is the false ligaments which is supporting to the bladder. Also there is a two lateral false ligament which extend from the bladder to the lateral pelvic wall. It is difficult to show you, but here I will show you. There is a bladder which extend from the neck of bladder to the lateral pelvic wall on the side. So you can see there is a sidely, it is attached to the both the side, it is attached to the lateral pelvic wall. And the posterior fold, it is a sacrogenital fold. It is called the posterior false ligament. It extends from the base of the bladder to the third sacral vertebra. So it is from the base of the bladder to the third sacral vertebra. It is the sacrogenital fold. So these are the false ligament of the urinary bladder. And the true ligaments of the urinary bladder are the first one is the median umbilical ligament. In false ligament, it is a peritoneal fold, but true ligament, it is a median umbilical ligament. It is a remnant of the urachus. And there is a two puboprostatic ligament. Here you can see there is a two puboprostatic ligaments, medial and lateral puboprostatic ligament. It extends from the infralateral surface. Here you can see this is it extends from the infralateral surface of the bladder to the tendinous arch of the pelvic fascia on the lateral sides. So here there is on the both sides there is a tendinous attachment of the pelvic fascia. So two lateral ligaments which extend from the infralateral surface of bladder to the tendinous arch of the pelvic fascia. There are four puboprostatic ligament, medial and lateral. It is also called the pubovesical ligament. This extend from the neck of urinary bladder. This is the neck of the urinary bladder to the pelvic surface of the pubic symphysis and tendinous arch of the pelvic fascia. So this is the neck of the urinary bladder, and I will put into the anatomical position. It lies into the most lower part, and there are four puboprostatic ligament, two medial, right and left medial, and right and left lateral ligaments. It is also called the pubovesical ligament. This extends from the neck of the bladder to the pubic symphysis or pelvic surface of the pubis and tendinous arch of the pelvic fascia on the lateral ligament which is attached to the tendinous arch of the pelvic fascia. We already discussed the two lateral ligament from the infralateral surface to the tendinous arch of the pelvic fascia on the posterior sides. Posterior true ligaments which extend from the base of the bladder to the posteriorly interiliac vessels. Here you can see this is the there is a extension of the posterior ligaments, so which extend from the posterior to the interiliac vessels. So this is the interiliac vessels, and lateral pelvic wall, and it contains the vesical plexus of the veins. So these are the true ligaments, total 9 ligaments. One is the median umbilical ligament. Median umbilical ligament, it is a remnant of the urachus. Puboprostatic ligament, medial and lateral puboprostatic ligaments, which is extend from the base of the neck of the pubic, base of the bladder to the neck of the bladder to the pubic symphysis and tendinous arch of the pelvic fascia. Two lateral ligament which is extend from the infralateral surface of the bladder to the tendinous arch of the pelvic fascia, and two posterior ligament which extend from the base of bladder to the interiliac vessels and lateral pelvic wall on the posterior side, and it contains the vesical venous plexus. So this is about to the ligament. Here you can see this is the ligament of the pelvis. These are the medial and lateral puboprostatic ligament which is attached, medial which is attached to the near to the pubic symphysis, and lateral which is attached to the tendinous arch on the anterior part, and it is start from the neck of bladder to the pubic symphysis and anterior end of the tendinous arch. So this is the medial and lateral puboprostatic ligament. The lateral ligament which extend from the neck of bladder to the posterior part of the tendinous arch, and the posterior ligament which is extend from the base of the bladder or neck of bladder to the interiliac vessels, and there is a it is from the neck of bladder or base of the bladder, infralateral surface to the interiliac vessels and lateral pelvic wall, and it contains the vesical venous plexus. So this is the ligament of the urinary bladder. Blood supply of the urinary bladder. Here you can see this is the external iliac, this is the intrailiac. It gives the superior vesical artery, it gives the inferior vesical artery, it gives the obturator arteries. This is the obturator artery, you can see here. So branches from the superior vesicle, branches from the inferior vesicle. Here you can see this is the inferior vesical artery, this is the superior vesical artery and obturator artery which supplies to the urinary bladder. Inside the female also branches coming from the uterine and vaginal arteries. The venous drainage of it is drained into the vesical venous plexus situated into the infralateral surface of the urinary bladder, and it is drained into the interiliac vein along the posterior ligament of the bladder. Lymphatic drainage, it drained into the external iliac group of the lymph node. The nerve supply of the urinary bladder, mainly the nerve supply of the urinary bladder by the somatic nerve, by the S2, S3, S4, it is by the pudendal nerve, and it is excitatory to the external sphincter, and mainly it is the voluntary in control. The parasympathetic, it is supplied by the S2, S3, S4, and it is supplied by the pelvic nerve, and it is the excitatory to the bladder and relax the sphincter. So parasympathetic, it is the nerve for the micturations, so it relaxes the sphincter. There are basically, you have to remember, two sphincter inside the urinary bladder. One sphincter, it is called the internal urethral sphincter, it is also called the sphincter vesica, and the external urethral sphincter, it is called the voluntary sphincter, while the internal urethral sphincter, it is the involuntary nature. Sympathetic supplied by the T10 to L2, and it is by the hypogastric nerve to the pelvic ganglia, and it is the inhibitory to the bladder body and excitatory to the base of the bladder, or it is excitatory to the urethra or sphincter. So it is a sympathetic nerve. How to keep the bladder into the anatomical position? You always remember, this is a vas deferens. You always keep on the posterior aspect if it is the male. If it is not male, then the two ureter, this is the left ureter and this is the right ureter. which lies on the posteriorly and posteriorly as well as on the superiorly and laterally. So this is the ureter. It lies on the posteriorly, superiorly and laterally. You have to put the ureter. Apex always put anteriorly. Neck always put on the downside, and two infralateral surface. This is the infralateral surface, my two fingers, and this is the superior surface, and this is the base of the bladder. And always there is a, if there is a male body, then you can see there is a epididymis and seminal vesicles inside the base of the urinary bladder. Inner of the aspect of the urinary bladder, you can see there, this is called the trigone. This is the two ureteric opening. This is the right ureteric opening. This is the left ureteric opening, and this is the urethral opening. So in between this area, it is called the trigone of the urinary bladder, which is the mesodermal in origin, while the remaining part of the bladder, it is the developed from the endodermal in origin. So importance of this trigone, it is the between the two ureteric opening, right and left ureteric opening, there is a interureteric reeds. It is the pale in nature as compared to the others. You can easily identify during the surgery. Clinical aspect of the urinary bladder, you have to remember to visualizations of the bladder by the scope, endoscopy, it is called the cystoscopy. It is called the cystoscopy. And inflammations of the urinary bladder, it is called the cystitis. The stone inside the urinary bladder, it is called the cystolithiasis. There is a blood coming from the urinary bladder inside the urine, it is called the hematuria, mainly due to the stone which friction with the wall of the bladder. And sometimes there is a visualization, cystography. It is the to visualize the urinary bladder by the to injecting the dye by the IV, and it is collected inside the urinary bladder. It is a cystography. And for the particularly for the we can residual urine, whenever there is a in senile age there is an enlargement of the prostate, and that's it lead to there is a residual urine which is collected inside the urinary bladder. For that we can do the urodynamics study. So whatever the residual urine which is retained, normally it is not retained, but if it is retained more than 50 ml, it indicates that there is a median lobe which is enlarged or senile enlargement of the prostate. So this is about to the prostate, and hope you enjoy the lecture of the prostate. And there is a many more clinical anatomy like atonic bladder, autonomous bladder, trabeculated bladder, but it is a separate lecture. So hope you enjoy the lecture of the urinary bladder. Thank you very much.